Greetings. This is Arvat McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens. As a very young person, I always felt that I carried the weight of the world on my shoulders, having to make grown-up decisions in order to survive a life marked with physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. While my face was smiling on the outside, on the inside, I always secretly cried and felt miserable. However, over the years, I learned some gems that helped to turn my life around. I now get to live the life of my dreams, filled with love, travel, and wonderment. And I am absolutely passionate about sharing what I have learned with you. If you want to live your best life, tune in each week as I, along with some amazing guests, share these life-changing gems with you. Inspired to be more, do more, have more. Greetings. As we continue to evolve during these trying times, it is our hope that you will continue to tap into the highest version of yourself so that you may lead the happiest, the most authentic, and peaceful lives possible.
We here at Speak, the Universe Listens, we are here as a resource for you. Be comfortable reaching out, knowing that we're here to help bring that peace wherever it might be needed, to bring that love wherever it might be needed. Be safe.
Greetings and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is lessons from water. And I have joining me one of my most favorite people in the world, Scott.
Hello.
Yay, Scott, how are you?
I'm doing fabulously. How are you?
I'm great as well.
It is great to see you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I really wanted to talk about really the work, I should say, by Dr. Emoto. Mm-hmm. And one of his first books is called Messages from Water. And he's had a lot of books since then, but they all pretty much say the same thing. And what I find to be amazing is he actually, in his research, he talks about two of the most powerful things, because we all know water is like one of the most powerful forces on the planet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then also kind of talking about words and thoughts and feelings. And combining those two things together and seeing what's happening.
Yeah, and and even to add to the power of it, I often think about how much of our body is made from water as well. I don't know the percentage.
Yeah, they always say between 70 and 90%.
Yeah.
We just water, and the same with our planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And and I guess for anybody who doesn't know the process, that for Dr. Emoto, he would actually had a formation of being able to crystallize water, and I guess to freeze it or some type of way, and it'll make different crystals based off where the water was from or the energy that was given to it. So very interesting process, and. Like you said, he did add feeling, like words and feelings to it, and it's interesting that you can see the difference on the crystallization from words like "you fool" compared to words like "you're beautiful" or "love" and things of that sort. So
basically he's taking this water and he uses like a distilled water. Well, he does a lot of different types of experiments, but one of the experiments is like using a purified, like distilled water, and then he's actually sending messages to the water. So the message might be "I love you," or it could be listening to rock music, or it could be listening to classical music, or it could be just the words like "I hate you" or "you're a fool." So basically just talking to the water, sending a message to the water, and then freezing it, and then chipping it to get the crystals. And then he's looking at these crystals underneath the microscope and seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm. And this, I do have a copy of a book here that let me get to the right page here. And so if you all are able to see this well enough, in this book is showing some of the pictures of those crystallizations. And over here on this side, it's saying, you fool. So this is how the images look when you're saying you fool. I think down here at the bottom it's saying, you make me sick, I'll kill you. And so you're seeing different images there. However, if you go in and say, look for the right page. For crystals here, I think it says wisdom. So you can just see a complete difference in the way that those crystals are shaped. Here in the middle is one that says you're beautiful. So really nice crystal formation. And it's just pictures and pictures of all different types of messages that are given to the water. And it's just really interesting just seeing how the water transforms based off of the energy that's given.
Right, exactly. And so, energy, and I love talking about energy because we kind of forget that we all are just walking energy fields. Really, that's everything has energy emanating from it, and we can send our energy out into the world. We can send it to wherever we place our attention. We're sending our energy there. And so this whole concept of sending our energy to the water and being able to see how our energy affects the water, that's just such a beautiful experiment.
Yes.
And it's not that some of us don't already recognize it because, for example, I actually had the opportunity to live on an island for a while. And while I was there, I totally transformed from the inside out. And the things that were happening on the island is that people were looking me in my eye, like every person you pass, they look at you, they see you, and then they'll usually say something to you like, you're a beautiful queen. You're such a beautiful princess. Hello, my doll. So they're always giving you all this positive reinforcement. And over time, I just kind of morphed into what they were putting out there. It was like that energy. And then also by me witnessing the beauty of the island, it was like I was in love every day with everything I saw. And it changed me. Like I could feel it. It was almost like I could feel my crystals.
Right.
Yeah, changing and becoming beautiful, exactly like we see in these experiments that he did.
Yeah. And and as you're saying that, I'm also thinking about some of the experiments he was doing as well, where he actually took water from the same source. So it was like a pond, and he would crystallize the water first and see what it looked like, and it looked all kind of distorted or whatever. And then a group of people might come around and pray over the water, over the pond itself, and then they'll recrystallize. Nothing else was done differently, and the crystals come out beautiful.
Yeah.
And, so when you talk about your crystals are transforming, and it actually is.
Yeah.
And compare that to the contrast what a lot of people experience every day. Just here in the States, where they're going out and they're thinking and they look in the mirror like, oh, my nose too big, or I do whatever. And so they criticize themselves. Then they do something, they're like, oh, I'm so stupid, or
Yes.
and then they go out and they run the red light. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Somebody cut them off. Oh, you idiot. So we're sending out the negative energy, and by sending it, we're giving it to ourselves.
Right, exactly.
Along with other people might be giving it to us as well. She thinks she's cute. All that type of stuff, right? But so this is a complete contrast to take place there. And I think, for all of us, if we can begin to create that experience like what you had on the island, I mean, that was just absolutely beautiful to be able to walk around and have people just to see you.
Yes.
To actually see you. And not just to see you negatively, but to see the greatness that's in you. And so that's a gift. Yeah, we can give that gift to ourselves. We can give that gift to others.
Exactly. And one thing that I noticed is that with me being able to receive all that wonderful just reinforcement, it made me aware that I needed to be able to give it as well. And one thing I do want to say, this is a little bit interesting to me. So just in them being able to see me, because I always walk around with a smile on my face, like
Okay.
no matter how I feel. So it was one day in particular, I was actually, my husband had come back to the States, and I was still on the island. And I just, felt bad that he was gone. Like, I just felt sad, like, oh, he's gone. But I'm walking around the island smiling. And everybody that I walked past was like, are you okay? What's wrong? And I'm just like, how do they know something's wrong with me? So, but in them being able to see me like that, it made me, in return, be able to see other people and to make it a point to see other people.
Nice.
And so when I'm walking around now, I'm trying to look people in their eye. I'm trying to see them, and I'm trying to offer them just a pure stream of love. And one of the best compliments that I receive fairly regularly is that people tell me that they feel better when I'm around.
Nice.
They see themselves differently, presumably because I see them differently. And that makes me even more intentional in terms of offering it out. And, when I get to see experiments like Dr. Emoto's and see like a physical change. So of course I'm aware there's an energetic change. Like, I'm very aware of that. And a lot of times we talk about energy and there's no proof of it.
Right.
It's no direct proof of a lot of things that we may talk about. But when we see stuff like this, it helps you say, yeah, there's the proof right there.
Yeah. And just as a side note, I do always feel great when I'm around you,
And
too.
I feel fantastic when I'm with you.
I see you. And as you're talking about doing that experiment, a couple of years ago, my niece was needing to do a science experiment for our school, and we decided to reach out to Dr. Emoto's materials, and so one of the what we decided to do was we cooked some rice, and we separated the rice into 2 bags. And one bag we put a piece of tape on it to say love, and the other one we put a tape on it to say hate. And so the one that said hate, we would go to it and talk bad about, oh, look at that nasty rice, and things of that sort. The one that say love was, oh, you just look so amazing. I'm just, it's delicious. And just, when we talk good stuff to this one. And just that simple. I mean, we kept them side by side, not close, but, the same type of, same room temperature, just everything was the same otherwise. And within a couple of days, the hate rice started turning green and black and started looking like something you wouldn't want to eat. Whereas after a couple of weeks, the loved rice was still looking ready to eat.
Wow.
And that was the only thing that was done different. That's an easy experiment that any of us could do without any special equipment.
Right.
And to just be able to do that, and she was able to take that experiment to the school, and so other kids were able to see it, and it was just interesting, just even hearing her say, so if I'm saying bad stuff to other people, is doing that to me and them? And it was able to help change her perspective, I believe, and so and that's what it does for me, even as just looking at the pictures in the book. It's just, it gives a different change of perspective, and it brings the thought pattern of what we saying having effects into reality. Yeah.
But what's interesting, or what causes me to think is, if they were side by side, I wonder why it was okay with the rice that was getting the good attention. Why wasn't he upset that that you were being mean to the other rice. Like, it seemed like it should have been some effect there. Because I can't sit in a room and listen to someone berate someone else.
Let's see, rice might not be as evolved.
I get that. But, I mean, energetically speaking, though, if my energy, like, if I walk into a room, I can feel the energy of that room.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering why, with the rice being in such close proximity to each other, why didn't it feel the energy of the other?
And and we didn't have them this right. That it was separated, but still in the same room, but separated. And we whispered. No. I love you.
We did a similar experiment at our school. We used plants and watering. I can't remember we watered the plants, or if we just gave. I think we just gave the plants positive reinforcement, no reinforcement, and then negative.
Okay.
And we saw a difference in the growth rate of the plants.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. But I don't know why the plants didn't respond. Like, why you not reinforcing that one? But
and we did an experiment. We weren't thinking in terms of, we weren't thinking like this per se, but like, I worked at a group home, and we had a habit of everything that was wrong, we would point it out. Like, why are your shoes on the floor?
okay.
Why isn't anybody doing their homework? Who left the dishes in the sink? So we had a habit of just, and when I say we, I kind of mean me.
No.
But just like, like, I'll walk into a room and everything that's wrong, I'll notice it. And like, why isn't this? And why isn't that? Somebody needs to straighten this. And who left this book right there? And da-da-da. And so, but in general, that was kind of the energy of the house, is pointing out everything that was wrong. And so we decided to flip it. And we decided to, like, as the staff people, we would write down every time we gave a positive reinforcement. And so that was our goal, to give positive reinforcements. I forget, we had a number that we were trying to do per hour or whatever. And it could be anything from looking at somebody and smiling, winking. It could just be simply touching their hand, or we had like a list of things, like, you can choose from this list of ways to give positive reinforcement. And so rather than saying, why are your shoes on the floor, we may say, John, you did a great job of straightening up the kitchen. And the entire house flipped in terms of how the children were behaving.
Right.
And so they were just so motivated to do wonderful things. And, I don't know if they were motivated because they were trying to get the positive reinforcement, or if they were motivated because of this thing, like, good energy promotes good energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't remember the exact words right now. I was talking with a young lady here recently that's originally from Africa, and so she said something like, praise makes the labor more. I can't remember the word now, but by just having the praise, having that good stuff in there, it makes all the labor easier to do, basically.
Right.
And that's I think what you're saying there as well. And a lot of families, unfortunately, do what you said you were doing originally. How bad your grades are. It's like all the negative stuff, and we don't often take the time to acknowledge the good stuff. And so just doing that, just giving that love is a powerful gift to give to ourselves as well as to others.
Yeah, and this on the whole line of speaking about children, because this is what this whole conversation really reminds me of, because we do that to our children, because we're trying to help them to become productive citizens and, do things right. And so in that, we're telling them, you're not cleaning your room, and you're not this, and you're not that. And, they say between the ages of 1 and 7, you're just soaking everything that you receive from the environment, and so you're not really processing like, oh, they're trying to make me a better person. Right. They're taking it in like, okay, I'm not good enough, I'm not clean enough, I'm a bad person. Mm-hmm. And that's how as we grow into adults who think those same things about ourselves.
Right.
And so really, just the whole concept of flipping our conversation, flipping what it is that we're telling our kids. And if the truth is we want them to be productive citizens and we're protecting them with love, then we should actually show love. Exactly. Yeah. or become what appears loving, because it doesn't appear loving to be told how bad you are.
Right. Yeah. I was talking with a gentleman that's a very religious guy, and he didn't like the way that his son was living with that he wasn't so his son wasn't married, but he was living with his lover, I guess I'll use that word, and so he didn't like that, and because he didn't like it so much, his son doesn't even talk to him now, and talking to the older gentleman, he's saying, well, I'm trying to save him from living a life of sin and that type of stuff. I was like, but in doing that, you're showing him that you don't love him rather than that you're showing him that you love him. I mean, you're doing it in a way to alienate him, to send him away. And what may be a better option is maybe, if you really feel that passionate about it, state it one time, he now knows it, but now just love him. And let him know that you love him.
And I think we do that just in general in our whole life. It's really kind of conditional. We want to say we're unconditional, but it's like conditional.
I love you.
If you do this, and if you're not doing this, then I can't be associated with you. But there are ways that we can let people know we love them, we can be there for them, and we don't have to agree with what they're doing, we don't have to condone it, but at the same time, it is their life.
Exactly. Yeah. And to give them that honor and that respect on that, and even though we're talking about the words that we're saying to other people, I think it goes even further beyond that as well. It's the thoughts. It's that perspective that we're having as we see someone, as we think about someone. And, so if you're thinking about somebody, and maybe you don't say it to them, but you're thinking about them like, I'll never do anything right. And, that's your thought. You're sending that energy to them.
Exactly.
With Dr. Emoto's stuff, I remember one of the books reading in it where they kind of prayed over the water, and when he was going to crystallize it, it was like one of the people that was praying was saying, this time the crystal's going to have 7, he was just thinking it to themselves, it's going to have 7 peaks rather than 6 like so many of them will have. It's going to have 7 peaks. And so when he crystallized the water, it had the 7th peak. Sit over there. And so all he was just simply doing is sending that thought. And so the thought is just as powerful as the words that we're saying, because it's that energy, like what you were saying earlier. So just the people that we care about, even the people that we don't care about but we run across, this take the effort to send them some positive thoughts. I remember for a while, one year I would go to the grocery store, or go to the mall or something, or whatever, and I was just consciously picking people to just send that energy to them. And especially with little babies, it's like if I'm seeing the baby crying and the parents, sometimes they're just real frustrated, and I would send that energy to the baby, and the baby would stop crying and look at me, and the parent have to turn around, like, what just happened? And there's no words being said. It's just that energy being sent over. so it can be felt on a certain level.
And you know, I think we can all feel it. Like, we know when somebody is not feeling us, right? Even though that person's smiling at us, or we know these things. And like, a lot of times people say, well, I didn't do anything wrong, but they treated me a certain way. Okay, but what were you thinking?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So again, this work by Dr. Emoto, if you get a chance, check out his work and look at those pictures a little more closely, because it's just fascinating how you can actually see if someone is saying I love you, how beautifully those crystals form. Words like love, gratitude, compassion, appreciation, and then prayer, classical music, you know, some of the more like, you know, just some of the soothing musics, all of that makes the crystals just so beautiful. And then, like he said, the words like hate and you're a fool and you're ugly, the crystals don't even form a lot of times. Or water from dirty ponds, it doesn't form unless you pray over it. And so that power of prayer, just that whole energy of offering love and goodness and kindness makes a difference.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And thank you for always sending me such a loving energy and making me feel so wonderful all the time.
And thank you for returning the favor.
All right, guys. So pour some love out to everyone you see, and it's going to change you and them.
Definitely. Enjoy.
Till next time. Bye.